Hey, what's up, everybody? It's David with the Freeze Dried Business. Welcome to the recap of the Freeze Dried Summit. I know a lot of you wanted to join this year, and unfortunately, I just had a limited capacity. It was the inaugural one. I didn't really know what to expect, but we had a great time. And so, this particular live stream is going to be a recap of what was happening. I'm glad you're here. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what happened. And even people who went to this live stream, if you're attending right now, please jump on the chat, share with people who are in this chat because it's going to be on the replay. What you loved about the conference or what you learned and what it was kind of like. One of the things I'm really looking forward to sharing with you is through my streaming software right here. I'm actually going to show you a live stream that I did at the conference. I hope you saw that. If you didn't, go to the Freeze Dried Business YouTube channel, check out the live section tab, and you'll see me with the actual live that I did there. Um, just so you know, the Freeze Dried Summit was in Boise, Idaho, just this past week. It was on Monday and Tuesday, the 22nd and 23rd of September. Before that, on Sunday evening, it was we had like a pre-social for the summit. A lot of people joined. In fact, I didn't really know how many people would show up, but we had over 92 people show up to that event, and there was a total of 126 people that came to the summit. So a lot of people came to the summit. It was awesome, and I'm excited for 2026. And in fact, I'm just going to go ahead and announce it. We're going to have the 2026 summit back here in Boise. It's going to be in September, and I'm just going to say that right now. So if you're wondering, is there going to be a summit? Yes, there is. It's going to be in Boise, and it's going to be in September. And I'm going to finalize the dates exactly once I actually know what type of venues are available, things like that, because we ran out of capacity at the Hotel Renegade that I had it at this year, and it was a great venue for the first one, right? But I want to allow more people to come, and I talked to a lot of people that came this year, and a lot of people want to come back, and so I'm going to make sure that one, there's enough capacity for people to come back, but also that there's enough room for new people as well. There's a lot of excitement in the freeze drying industry, and I'm going to share with you today as well a group that you can join that came out of this. I'm excited to do that. But before I get too far ahead of myself, let me know in the chat if you saw the live stream that I did on Monday, the 22nd, on the YouTube channel. And if you didn't, go check it out right now. We're live. Open up a new tab or close this out. Go to the new live stream. I just want to ask you if you actually saw that, and I'll be answering chat questions about the summit while we're doing this live stream. I'm going to do it for about an hour today and just go through different highlights. I'll share my screen of the YouTube live stream. I'll probably mute it, but I'll just kind of share and commentate what's going on there, and then we'll answer some chats. I'll also give you some insights of kind of what I took away from the summit and where we're going to go in this industry. So very excited. And yeah, let people know that I'm live. And if you have any questions, first off the bat, let's go ahead and show some questions here. Sheila says, "Welcome. Are there any conferences for home freeze drying people?" Well, Sheila, there is not. In fact, that is an opportunity for me. I wanted to offer people who are looking at it for a business, but I definitely think there's room for people who want to have a freeze drying conference. It's something that maybe I could actually help with if someone else wants to glean from what I did with this summit and the success that I had. I'm happy to join forces and create a home freeze drying summit for that, or we can call it something else. But yes, absolutely, we should definitely have that. And there's not currently one. That's why I wanted to have the freeze dried summit for business, because there isn't anything. The closest thing I could find to a freeze dried event is something for like lysophiliation, which is it's basically the fancy term for freeze drying, and mostly uh, it's mostly connected to people in the pharmaceutical and nutraceutical side of things. So there's so much room to expand. Thanks for that question. Another person that comes in here, Lisa. Hey there. Yes, Lisa came from and Lance came for the conference. It was a great summit. I absolutely agree. And the venue, Hotel Renegade, was fabulous. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining the network that I'm going to talk about here soon, and lots of exciting things. So. If you're just new joining the live stream, we're just recapping the summit. I'm going to get to a couple things. We're going to cover first the live stream. So bear with me right here. I'm going to actually try to share my screen. I'm going to share with you the live stream that I did at the conference. But actually, no, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share with you the video that uh, this local news station did. So, could you let me know in the comments right here if you are hearing this actually play?
Strawberries, candy, and even microgreens. Now, they might look a little different, but they're part of a food trend that's exploding into a global industry. And right now, Boise is at the center of it. I'm downtown Boise.
Okay, I'm playing this right now. If you're watching this live stream right now, can you hear that the reporter talk or not? Because if you can't hear it, I'm just gonna play it and I'll commentate with it. But if you can hear it, it's actually kind of cool if I can do that. You can hear it. Awesome. Okay.
Neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker, and I came here to the Renegade Hotel for the Freeze Dried Summit, where people from all over the world are here to show how this long-standing preservation method is becoming serious business. Here in Boise, from Massachusetts, Australia, Canada, even England, more than 120 entrepreneurs and curious foodies packed into the Hotel Renegade Ballroom. Fewer than 10 from Idaho, all attending to learn more about the industry and how to improve freeze-drying techniques to turn a profit.
We manufacture our own freeze-dried sweet potato. It's like a cracker, but far more awesome.
Josh Kingdon, a former actor, says his brand, Sweet Potato Awesome, is already on shelves at Whole Foods and Erewhon. To scale further, he needs bigger machines.
I'll talk
And this
about
summit
Josh
brought
here
the
very
industry
shortly,
heavyweights
but
to Boise.
It's really helpful for me to see the units themselves and
really
to learn
neat
about what it
product.
takes to run them.
Freeze drying has long been used in pharmaceuticals and for snacks like fruit, but the invention of a home unit about the size of a mini fridge opened up the door to hobbyists. Now, businesses are scaling up those ideas, and experts say the $5 billion global industry is projected to double in the next decade. From pet treats and camping meals to powders packed with nutrition.
Teaspoon of freeze-dried microgreen powder
There I
is
am.
equivalent to your entire day's worth of nutrition for your greens.
For Idaho, where agriculture drives the economy, freeze drying could help preserve surplus harvests, extend shelf life, and cut waste. And for organizer David Lehman, who grew up here, hosting the first ever freeze dried summit in Boise is a full circle moment.
I wanted to make sure I had the event at a place that I love, which is Boise.
So, from snacks to supplements, organizers tell me they believe this is only the beginning for where the industry can go.
Okay, so that was the news, local news that picked this up. If you just so you know, I'm not. I want to share with you what I did to actually get this, in case you're having any type of events. So typically, news and media, they have like an email or something where you can send in like a request for media coverage or like a press release. So I literally had a bunch of like different information. I threw it into ChatGPT. I said, create me a press release for the Freeze Dried Summit. I cleaned it up a little bit to make it, sound like I wanted it to sound. And then I copy and pasted it into a Google Doc, downloaded it as a PDF, and then sent it off to all these media companies. And that happened back in like June, and nobody picked it up. Then I did it about a week ahead of time, and I sent it off. And then Riley Shoemaker from Boise, she actually picked it up and decided to pick it up. So really awesome that they decided to highlight the summit. If you're just joining, I've got a link right here. I'm going to show it on the screen. This link is in the chat. You can go to the news article that in the news video that I'm just showing right here on the screen. This was from Channel 6, and they decided to highlight and interview a couple people that were at the summit, so you can get a kind of taste for what was happening. Now, also, I want to share with you, I'm going to rewind a little bit just to share with you a little bit about, let's see, right here. This was the ballroom. We had right here, like we had these. This was the big ballroom that everyone was sitting at for the general session, and so we had these different TVs that would share the speakers and what they are sharing along the way. And then Josh here from Sweet Potato Awesome. Let's get him right here. This is Josh Kingdon from Sweet Potato Awesome. You can look him up. You can also go to my playlist about frozen assets, and I've interviewed him twice. He was actually one of the first people that I ever interviewed for this channel about freeze drying and being an entrepreneur, being a business owner in freeze drying. And Josh told me 2.5 years ago when I interviewed him, he said, "You're the only person that's really highlighting the industry, really doing things that could really help. He said, it's kind of lonely out here. It's like, it's not this industry that people really talk to each other about. There's not like this association, there's no network. So it was really great being able to bring this summit to the industry, and Josh was fortunately be able to come, and he was great along with everybody else. But I just wanted to highlight Josh there. So let me stop sharing here and go back. Lisa says, "I'll continue to watch the recording later. I have to get back to work." Well, I'm I am at work, right? I'm a YouTuber. I can just live stream at 12:30 p.m. in the afternoon on a Friday. So, yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I am trying to do more with the live streams and do it where people can join. But thank you for joining. If you're getting out of lunch and doing this, if you're just watching this as a replay, we're going to recap the Freeze Dried Summit that happened here in Boise, Idaho. And thanks for joining if you do. And if you have any types of questions that you'd like to know about the Freeze Dried Summit and what kind of happened, I'm happy to answer your questions in the chat. So, one of the things that I chose to do with this summit is I really wanted to make it intentional with the participants as well as the sponsors. And big shout out to the sponsors. I'm going to go ahead and list them all off. We had our partner sponsors, which were Parker Freeze Dry, Tech Source Systems, and then also the industry sponsor that I had was Cut and Freeze Dry, who's a company actually that's been freeze drying for years. They're based in New Zealand, and they had just some North American representation with Lloyd Parks. All those three different sponsors, I did an actual live stream with before the conference. You can check those out in my live stream playlist. And also, I've got all my supporting sponsors, which included companies that aren't even like freeze drying manufacturers, but KLC Financial is a company that actually helps current commercial freeze drying companies help finance that equipment for people. So thank you, KLC. Also, thank you, Severin Packaging. Severin is a company that I was referred to, got them to come to this conference. They want to come back because they have freeze drying clients that they help with packaging their freeze dried products. So I had them come. I also had Crunchco Freeze Drying Supplies come in as a sponsor. I'm going to share with you kind of what my live stream was like there. And I also had Harvest right there, Blue Alpine, as well as I'm forgetting someone here. Let me go to the Freeze Dried Summit. Oh, Defreeze. Duh. Defreeze is a new up and coming Canadian company, and we actually had I think close to a dozen people come to the Freeze Dried Summit who are Canadian. And William Slenders, who's the chief operating officer with Defreeze, man, what a fantastic mind, because he just knows a lot about the Canadian market. He knows a lot about the Canadian regulations that go on. So if you're watching this live stream and you're thinking, man, there was a lot of US based people. No, we actually had probably 10 to 15% of our attendees were all international, and then everybody else was from the United States. And in fact, only about 6 people were from Idaho that came to the summit. So we have a lot of blend of people from the US, Canadian. We had people from Australia and people coming from New England, all coming to the summit to learn about that. Um, I'm looking at the chat. William is great. We really were interested in the D-free systems. Yeah, I think what's just great about this is, we've known that, Harvest Right started with this home freeze drying technology, right? Brought it to market, made it affordable for the average person. I know, $3,000 to $4,000 is not a drop in the bucket, but it made it affordable for getting into homes. What we saw at the summit was unbelievable. It's like a collective industry and people coming together to really bring the industry forward and grow it collectively. Are they all competitors? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, everybody has their own stake in what they'd like to propose that they can do for a customer going into the business side of freeze drying. But at the same time, the more people are educated about freeze drying, the more the consumers educated about freeze drying, the more we're all going to be better equipped to know how to do freeze drying better, how to make it safe for people to eat, how to do different recipes, how to make the technology better. So it was no one was adversarial there. Everyone was collectively on the same mindset, and that's how I wanted it to be at the summit. And I'm so happy that it turned out that way. Um, I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm just trying to give you some insight into what it was like for the vendor side as well as the attendees. If you're just joining, go ahead and jump in the chat. If you attended, I'd love to hear, what your thoughts were and what was most impactful for you. One of the things I want to say about the attendees is, my goodness, like what a great attendance, and everyone was very participatory, if that's a word, into all the different events. I mean, we had 92 people show up on Sunday evening from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock or 6:37, just not knowing anybody, wearing a name tag and introducing themselves. And you know what it was? People were all about freeze drying. You don't have to be starting, you don't have to have a business to come to the summit. In fact, there's probably 50% of people. There was 126 people that came to the summit. 50% of those people didn't even have a business going into it. And what that tells me is huge interest in trying to understand, what am I about to get into? What do I need to know if I'm going to start this business? Some people have money. They have experience running a business. And so they're saying freeze drying interests me. I want to come to the summit to understand from suppliers and people who are attending, what can I do in this business? It's exciting. So whether you are having a business or you don't, it's totally applicable to come, and there's huge value in that. And I think what I'm trying to say is that all the attendees that were coming to the summit all had a common thread, and that is that you had an interest in freeze drying and you wanted to know more about what the freeze drying technology has to offer you in the advancement of a business startup or growing your business. And so when all those people came together from all these different states and countries, that's kind of like, well, you're here for that, you're here for that, and it just all made sense. So really thankful for that. If you're just joining the live stream, we're recapping the summit, and what I want to go through with you is just kind of the schedule of what we had at the summit. So number one is we had this social on Sunday. Everyone woke up. Actually, you know what? I'm going to share with you. I'm going to find it on my computer. I'm going to share with you the actual schedule. Okay. So let's open this up. I'm going to share with you what it was all about. Bear with me here. Sharing the screen. Let's go with. There we go. Alrighty. So this is the summit schedule. So if you're just looking at this right now, this is what we did at the summit. I'm going to try to cancel this out. There we go. Okay, so we met at the warehouse downtown. We had some prizes. I gave away some raffle prizes to the hotel. We had light appetizers. I'm a big Raising Cane's fan, and we don't have Raising Cane's in Idaho, but Just Chicken, that's literally the name, Just Chicken. They were at the warehouse food hall. So imagine like a mall food court, but like 10 times better. Basically, Boise transformed this spot downtown that used to be American Eagle, Urban Outfitters, used to be some retail, just wasn't a very hopping in place because I don't know, just people didn't want that. They made it into a food hall. And what they did was they took like food truck companies and they said, we'll give you a front end space inside this food hall that you can kind of dabble in what it's like to run a restaurant type of thing versus just the food truck, which is awesome. But then they also are bringing in other types of companies and restaurants like Just Chicken, and it was phenomenal. It was great. Hey, Brandon, White Pepper Farms just joined. Awesome. And we're just talking about the chicken was really good. Yeah, let me bring that up here. White Pepper Farm says, I made it. And then he says, the chicken was really good. Yes, it was. Now, their sauce is called Just Sauce. And so, yeah, good name, right? um, but what we're doing is we're going to go through this schedule. So I just want to give you an idea of what we did. So Monday morning, woke up on the eighth floor of the Hotel Renegade in downtown Boise. You can look it up. Fantastic venue. Was really impressed with the hospitality and just very nice hotel. It's only a year old, so nothing really run down about that hotel. And what we did is we started breakfast at 7:30. The breakfast was a buffet. It wasn't like you were just getting a muffin and some fruit. I wanted to make I've been to plenty of conferences. I did not want it to be lackluster in that type of thing. I like filling myself with food so I have energy throughout the day. If you're just joining the live stream, we're going through the schedule so that you know if you missed it, what we did. Now at 8 o'clock, I talked to everybody, gave them a rundown of what was planning for the rest of the day. Then we had our keynote from Hank and Giuliano, which are the co-founders of Nature's Wildberry. And if you're not familiar with them, I do have an actual video on my on my YouTube channel that you can go check it out. It's the keynote. Now, Hank and Giuliano were on Shark Tank, the reality show, pitching their idea for this miracle berry that changes things from being sour to sweet. And so they actually had a full demo. They had people coming up from the audience to taste vinegar, like a garden salad with balsamic vinegar, and then pickles and vinegar and potato chips, all this type of stuff. And then you would try this berry and it would change it to sweet. You'll have to watch the replay once I have all the content out, but it was phenomenal. Now, after that, we also had one of our guest speakers from Parker Freeze Dry, Matt Gronke. He was talking about what does it take to scale your freeze drying business. It was great content and material for people who are serious about scaling their business from just a home freeze dryer or multiple home freeze dryers, but really understanding it from the perspective of Parker Freeze Dry, who they go and travel to all different types of expos and conventions, and Matt actually speaks at a lot of universities about freeze drying. So it's great having him here. Thank you, Matt, for deciding to come and accepting the speaking opportunity. I really appreciate that. Now, after that, we had our breakout sessions. One thing you should know about what this conference was about was getting you a lot of education on a variety of different topics. So I had breakout sessions 3 different times in the 36 hours that we had the summit. So I had 4 in the morning and then 4 in the afternoon on Monday and then 4 Tuesday morning. So who we heard from here in the first set was Troy Pettit from Tech Source Systems. He talked about different milestones that they see freeze drying businesses go through. Now, he comes from a commercial freeze drying manufacturer background. They're very similar to Parker in that sense that they focus on the commercial industrial side. And so he was talking about different milestones that need to be met in order for you to be successful to grow and scale your business. Sean Jones, if you're not familiar with him, this is another individual that I've interviewed. He came from Foodynamics, which now actually is called Glacial Freeze Dry. They were exhibiting at the event. They're a co-packer in the freeze drying space. They're based in Wisconsin, and he really focuses on pet food. So that was what his topic was about. And then we have Stephen Cohen, who, if you're not familiar with him, he is the founder of Be Micro. It's a freeze-dried microgreen company based in Boulder, Colorado. He talked in his breakout session about his company, but more so coming at it from here's what I found as successful and really about kind of like how did he market his freeze drying business so that he could be more hands off and focus on the things that he liked to do in his business. One of the things that can get really uh, misconstrued in the freeze drying journey is feeling like you have to do it all, like even do the freeze drying, prep the food, all that type of stuff, and you're doing the sales and you're doing the social media, all that. That's not necessarily a case that you have to do that. There are ways to what's the right word? Uh, Not deviate, but delegate those tasks to other people. So that's what he did with the whole process. He went with the co-packer in Colorado to be able to freeze dry his microgreens, then package them up and then sell them so that he can focus on the marketing of his brand Be Micro as well as his podcast. So that's what we did for those first breakout sessions. I'm going to pause real quick and ask anybody who's joining this live stream, what do you think about the schedule so far? Do you have any questions about what it was like? Um, you know, any questions about the different speakers, anything like that? I would love to hear from you. I've got my chat open right now to see those coming through. So if you have any questions, go ahead and add in the chat. If you're new to the live stream, I'm going to be live here for the next 35 minutes. I'm going through a detail of recap of the Freeze Dried Summit that happened this past week with in Boise, Idaho at Hotel Renegade. It's phenomenal. At the very beginning, if you didn't come in at the very beginning, I announced that we're going to have the Freeze Dried Summit again. 2026 is happening. It's going to be in Boise, Idaho again, and it's going to be in September. I just need to finalize the exact dates, but we're going to have it in Boise, Idaho again. Nobody had any qualms with it being in Boise. In fact, people were praising that they'd never really been to Boise, but there was a great space. So we're going to have it back here again, and we are going to have more space, but it is going to be still limited. I'm not just opening it up to 400 or 500 people because I really enjoyed meeting everybody, and I want to do that at least for the second annual as well. I want to meet everybody. So, um, White Pepper Farms, I'll bring you up on the screen. You said I lived and loved it. Hank and Juliana were awesome. The food definitely surprised me. I expected finger foods, and we got a buffet. Right? Yeah. I mean, like I get hungry all the time when I go to conferences in my past, and it sucks when you just have a continental breakfast with some muffins and fruit. So yes, it was an added expense. Yes, it's something that I have to calculate for the next annual one. Just because it costs money to have those types of things, but I think people appreciate it. So let's continue on. I want to get through this and then talk about a couple other things. So I'm going through the schedule of what people went through at the summit this past week. So after we had the breakout sessions, we went upstairs and had at the eighth floor was the ballroom where we had the main general session. And so we had an entrepreneur panel. So I had Josh Kingdon from Sweet Potato Awesome. I had Stephen Cohen from Be Micro. I had who else did I have? I'm forgetting Mandy Mitchell from Alaska Food Company up on the panel on the stage, and they were talking about different experiences that they've had running a freeze drying business. And so I had some panel discussions. I even brought up some questions from people that had submitted them earlier on virtually, and so I think that was a great piece of the conference, and we'll probably be continuing that based on the feedback that I get from the survey. And so that was a highlight for me. Now, after that, we transitioned to another guest speaker, uh, Yana Hamlet, Dr. Yana Hamlet. Now, she's from Idaho Tech Help. Now, this is a great organization put on by, and I believe sponsored by the University of Idaho up in Moscow. And she basically is actually somebody that not basically, she is somebody that I worked with when I started my freeze drying business in Boise back in 2020. I have emails back from 2020 and 2021 from her, and it just had been a while since I connected with her. And she kind of gave people an idea of what a business looks like from a perspective of someone who knows about food and food processing and food processing manufacturing. And so she gave a great speech about that. She actually teaches at the universities as adjunct professors to basically teach people about food safety, things like that. So it was really great. Okay. Any more comments coming up? Nope. All right. If you're just joining the live stream, add into the chat here any questions you have about the summit. That's what we're talking about. If you did come in as a live streamer right now and you were a part of the summit, I'd love to hear in the chat what you thought of it, most impactful moment, who you thought was really interesting in the speaking sessions, all that type of jazz. So let me know in the comments. Okay, moving on to the afternoon. Again, we had another set of breakout sessions. We had Lloyd Parks from Cut and Freeze Dry. He talked about food safety as it becomes to what they deal with on the large industrial commercial side. In fact, Cut and Freeze Dry is probably one of the largest international freeze drying companies. In context to, they have really big clients that use their freeze drying machines. They have huge ones. And so they are based in New Zealand. They have representation of clients all over the globe. And Lloyd Parks is based in Milwaukee and represents the North and South American market. He came in to talk. Great information, very smart individual. Levi Weishuttle, now he's part of Freeze Dried Marketing. He focuses on video content and social media. He talked about what it takes to market yourself as a startup as well as an existing business in freeze drying. He also is represents the production side of my channel. So when I go out and visit companies like Boreas, visit companies I'm going to come out here very soon with Alaska Food Company. He's the one who travels with me to get those shots so I can kind of focus on the interview part and he helps me get the right shots so it's all very engaging for you to watch on the channel. So he's a huge integral part for me. And then we had Jeff, I'm gonna botch this, but it's bogus. It's Polish, but anyway, Jeff, thank if you're watching this, thank you for joining the summit because Jeff's focuses on candy confectionery, and he focuses on basically the science of creating your own candy. You know, I think a lot of people think that the trend, the days of freeze dried candy is over. It's not over. It's just you got to be more creative. Is everyone freeze drying Skittles, the brand? Yes, even the own brand is freeze drying their own Skittles. But that's because that's what they can do. We had a good run with a lot of these smaller boutique businesses freeze drying branded candies. But you know what it's going to take? It's going to take you to be more creative on what you can freeze dry. And you can make your own candies. You can make a hard candy, you can make a chewy candy. And he talked about that. And it was really enlightening for people who are looking to get a little bit more sweetness into their business. So can't thank Jeff enough. And then we had Gene Ligman as well. And it's one of the smaller breakout sessions. If you're not familiar with Gene, very smart individual. He's probably the only freeze drying consultant that's independent out there. And man, what great insights he has, not just for me, giving me insights about the freeze drying industry, but for everybody else that he talks to. He's very integrated into some of the people that have come to the summit. And also, he's got his own channel with Suntour, which is his company. And so he talked about what it takes to create a freeze drying business plan. And I'll be coming out with all of these recordings of everybody that I was able to get for to capture on video. I'm going to be putting together a package for you to actually purchase. If you did not attend the summit, you'll be able to purchase the access to all those recordings. And what I'm going to do for you is you're not going to just watch a 45-minute video without knowing what was talked about. I'm going to plug it into my tools so that I can create chapters so that you can skip around to those different topics and be live there with the people that were there at the summit so you can glean the content that was there and the education. So I'll have that available and I'm going to talk about that in this live stream real quick here shortly about how you're going to be able to access that and where you can get it. Let's go over to the chat here. All right. Turtle says, I think this is Lisa. Berries were crazy. That means Nature's Wild Berry gave great ideas. Jeffrey was awesome. Yeah. Pronounce Boogish. Yep. Yeah. He was great. Jeff was great. I mean, the thing is, if you weren't a part of the Freeze Dried Summit, you probably were unfamiliar with some of these speakers if you didn't go visit the Freeze Dried Summit website. But for people that attended, I think you had a very wide variety of topics to choose from. What we're going to do for the next one is probably make it a little bit more categorized for the breakout sessions. What I got some feedback initially was, maybe the morning session is all focused on equipment. Maybe it's focused on that type of thing so that everyone's kind of learning the same thing just with a different speaker, and then we move on to marketing for the next like afternoon, things like that. So I think that's going to be really good. Oh, Lance, you're on there. Hey, Lance. Yeah, thanks for adding into those chats. Appreciate it. Um, okay, so we got through Monday, and we got through. Oh, Lisa had to run. Yeah. So we got through all that. Now, what I'm going to share with you, I'm going to stop sharing here and get back to the chat. If you're just joining us, we're talking through the Freeze Dried Summit, what happened, and what it's all about going into 2026. And if you have any questions about the summit, go ahead and go into the chat. I'd love to hear from you. And if you attended the summit, I'd love to hear from you as well. Now, something I want to share with you is the freeze dried network. I'm going to log out actually and give you a taste for where to go. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to put into here where you should go. All right. So if you're just joining me, I'm going to share with you right now what came out of the summit, just because we're kind of midway through this stream. Now, one of the things I wanted to make sure of is staying connected past this summit. And so for any of you that are joining that didn't attend the summit, probably you're part of all these different Facebook groups, and there's a lot of kind of chatter that you don't really want. Some of you just want to be very connected in a good way to a certain community. And so, what I wanted to do with the summit is one, everyone that attended was very intentional. They wanted to be there because they either want to start a business or they want to grow a business. But for people who aren't even looking at a business, what do you really want? One, you want access to someone, the influencers in this industry. I'm not gloating here or anything. I'm just saying, like, what you want access to is people who know other ways to get you resources and tools and education about freeze drying that can help you. Now, my channel, Freeze Dried Business, is all about the business side, but it doesn't mean you have to be in a business to like that content and be connected to that network. So, what I'm going to share with you is in the chat right now. I'm going to share with you a website from a platform called School. If you're not familiar with that, it's basically a way for me to collectively get people who are very intentional about running a freeze drying business. And we're going to create a very strong network community in freeze drying. And this is another initiative for me in 2026. I'm going to share my screen right now. And what I'm calling it is the freeze dried network. Now, the reason I'm calling it a network is because there's going to be other branch offs of this particular community. Now, there you can join a Facebook group for free. That's fine. What this group is, it's a private group. You're going to pay $1 a month to be a part of a network of people who are serious about the advancement of the industry, including myself. So people who are already members, you're seeing there right now, 69 members. If you want to join this, go into school.com and then find the Freeze Dried Association, Freeze Dried Network, and also it's in the link of this chat right here. And I'm going to announce this more widespread here soon, but I wanted to make sure I announced it on this live stream. But you're going to be able, the Freeze Dried Network, I'm going to read what I actually put, is a community of entrepreneurs and business professionals and innovators working together to grow the freeze drying industry. It's a space to connect, share ideas, and shape the future through collaboration, education, and a future freeze dried association. I am going to what I'm going to do with this network is one, $1 just says, yes, I'm committed to the freeze drying industry. That's what that says, your payment there. You don't have to join this, it's optional. But if you want to be more connected to people who are serious about that, who can provide you resources and information and weed out the clutter that you're seeing on Facebook, this is it right here. Now, there's other people that I know that who are starting. Actually, Brandon from White Pepper Farms, he launched his as well. And I think it's great too because he's going to focus on recipe creation. Brandon, if you're still on the live stream, I consider him the $1,000 freeze drying recipe man. That's just what I call him because he's done so many different recipes that, like, his community is going to be about recipe creation and also helping you. If you want to learn from a guy who has over 370,000 YouTube subscribers, this is the guy. And so he's going to teach some social stuff. There's a little plug for you, Brandon, with your school. So check his YouTube channel out. He's got that. And but anyway, mine that I'm showing right here is not just for people in the business side. Okay, it's for people who want to further the advancement of the industry. And so if you want to join, it's $1 a month, and then you'll join that. Now, out of this is going to come an association. Now, this is like big picture for me because the association is going to have dues. It's going to be higher than $1. If you're a part of any association, whether you're a professional with your current 9 to 5 job or you're an association of some type of hobby, you know that you're the reason you're a part of that association is because you feel passion, or you're getting some type of benefit from those dues. That's what I want to do with freeze drying. In fact, we had almost, I would say, 25 people join my breakout session on Tuesday afternoon who were the first people to raise their hand and say, yes, I want to further the freeze drying industry. I want to be a part of the first freeze drying association. And so we're going to be a part of the freeze dried network, this right here that you're seeing on the screen. And then out of that, we're going to create an association that's more proactive in our industry. Now, that's going to be through newsletters. It's going to be through webinars teaching people about different things with freeze drying. It's also going to be a way for us to be more proactive in our local legislature because if you're in freeze drying right now and you're trying to start a business, you know it's challenging. Like you're almost having to be the educator for these health district reps and these different people coming in because the current laws in most states are not, they haven't changed. In fact, the cottage food law for Boise, Idaho, when I talked to my health district rep when I started, it hadn't been modified since like 2013. Okay. So nothing, no new innovation in food had been even proposed. And if it had been proposed, it had been on old technology. So it's our job as a network and as an association to further the proactive education so that it can benefit our industry. Because if we allow laws to just be continued to be put in place that kind of block us from innovation using freeze drying technology, more people are going to be basically not getting into freeze drying because of that. Also, current existing businesses aren't going to be able to innovate in the menu items that they want. So we want to continue educating that, and that's what the association is going to be about. Let's get to the chats real quick. Um, Oh, right, White Pepper Farms. He's like, enough of your promotion about me. Just talk about the network. Yes. Okay. So what I'm gonna do here though is I'm gonna log in real quick and just show you what is in here. Okay. So I'm going to show you the community. Okay. So now this is my like kind of admin view, just so you kind of know it. There's nothing that I'm hiding here, but basically what you're going to see when you log in is one, you're going to see David Lehman, which is me. And I'm pretty active here. You also are going to be able to see a leaderboard. Now, what this rewards you with is kind of like what Facebook has with their top fans. So when you log in, you're rewarded for being active in the community. Okay, you're rewarded for people liking what you're bringing to the table. So, for example, I said, let's see your photos from the summit. People were posting in here about all the different photos that they saw at the summit. I posted this video, which I'm going to post on TikTok here soon, but people were posting all their different photos and things. So when you join this, whether you were a part of the summit or not, I'm just saying when you join the Freeze Dry Network, you are going to be rewarded by me through this network for posting and being an active participant. I'm going to have different levels. Okay. So let's see if we can find that. Okay. Leaderboards. So I'm still working through this, but what you're going to see here is different levels. Okay. So there's only level 9. What this will do is when you become more proactive in a community, I'm going to reward you through your participation to get these different levels. The more things you post is, for example, maybe you're going to be able to chat with me directly, one on one. Maybe you're able to join more connected webinars and groups. Maybe you're able to join certain levels, access to different resources and partners in this. I'm just brainstorming right here. I'm still working out the kinks here, but basically, this whole school system, this platform that you're seeing, is going to reward you for posting and being active in this network. Okay. So if you have things to bring to the table, this is the network to be a part of. It's called Freeze Dried Network. And out of this will be born a freeze drying association that you can be a part of to further the advancement of the freeze drying industry. That's what this is all about. So I digress here. I'm going to stop sharing. um, I just want you all to know that if you're part of this live stream, what came out of this summit is a more connected industry and a more connected space for you to join. You can join for $1 a month. If you don't have $1 a month, that's perfectly fine. There's other free ways for you to join communities in Facebook, but this one in particular is going to be for people who want to be more of a participant in the advancement of the industry. And also, I'll be leading it as well as other people. So that link to that is in the chat. I'll actually add that to it right now again, and you can join right away. Okay. You can also cancel anytime. It's not like I'm taking your money and running. Okay. So you can cancel anytime if you want to. Okay. Now let's get back to the schedule. I want to make sure I highlight all the other things, the fun things that happened at the summit before our time runs out with this live stream. So let's go ahead and share again my screen. If you are just joining the live stream and you're able to get off of work, welcome. Or just kind of check in. Let me know in the chat if you have any questions about the summit, how it was. If you heard from anybody that you know who went, I would love to know from your perspective what they had to say. So on Monday, after all the breakout sessions ended, we had what I created. It was this brainchild of mine, which was basically a market for suppliers, sponsors to show off their equipment, show their company, but make it a more intimate thing than just an expo. Because I've been to conferences and conventions where you're walking through and you're not even arm's length. Like you're like 15, 20 feet away from people because you're just kind of browsing. Like you're looking off to the side. You're kind of seeing if you want to stop by. Then some awkward, sales rep goes like, "Hey, how's it going?" And you're like, "Yeah, it's going good. I'm walking down the hallway," right? Or I've been a sales rep too, and you're just pulling at their shirt trying to get them to come talk to you. And I wanted this to be more intentional. I wanted to be a place where you have an incentive and you are at the summit for an intention. You are here to learn and meet these different suppliers. So enough about that. I had some appetizers, which was great. It was like a fried potato bar. So basically, think fries with different toppings. It was really good. Had some drink tickets for those that wanted to get a drink, and it was from 4 to 7 p.m. But from 4 to 6 p.m., you had a chance to use a passport. Okay. Now this passport card, I don't have any up here in my office, but the passport card had 8 different stamps and 8 different sections with the logo of the different suppliers. And I had kind of some gamification to this. So I wanted people to stop by every single of the 8 booths, get a sticker, put the sticker on the area that the logo of that supplier had. And then also, I had a showcase of 6 different businesses in freeze drying that were actually represented at the conference. So I had people like Sweet Potato Awesome, Be Micro, Glacial Freeze Dry, Phyto Fuels, Alaska Food Company, Nature's Wildberry. And so I had all these companies that were there showcasing their product, as well as Flat Out Feast. And you had to go get 2 stickers from them. Then you would be able to complete your passport card and turn it in for one raffle ticket at the desk. And then at 6 o'clock, we drew a raffle prizes. All the different suppliers and people donated different gifts, ranging from Amazon gift cards to we even had like a Bose sound system. We had different gift cards for people giving free consults for how to figure out your freeze drying business. It was awesome. And so that passport was such a pivotal piece to this because it made things more active. People were in that big huge ballroom talking about what they wanted to know about different freeze dry manufacturers. Some of the manufacturers actually brought physical equipment like their freeze dryers that they could see, touch, and feel. It was awesome. So then I also had additional bonus entries for people who booked meeting with suppliers. So if you actually booked a meeting with Severin Packaging and said, I want to know more about packaging, you got 2 additional tickets. It was awesome. And so I had my wife and my sister-in-law, because I live here in Boise, they handle all that. They collect all the entries. And if you posted a photo about Freeze Dried Summit, you also got some additional entries, and it just worked out really well. By the way, if you're watching this live stream and you are a summit attendee, and what'd you think of the marketplace? I'd love to know. And also, if you're watching this afterwards, let me know in the replay too. I'd love to know what your thoughts were on this marketplace. I know that there's ways to improve it because I know it was quite loud in there because it was a small confined area. So we're going to change that for next year. But I'd love to know from your perspective, if you're joining, go in this chat and let me know what you think about thought about the uh, the marketplace. Okay, so I know I've spent a lot of time on that. Basically, on Tuesday, we kind of had the same thing. We had from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. We had our keynote, which was Jesus Macias. He was from Trinity Treats, phenomenal guy, probably tip top of everyone's choice of like what was the most impactful speaker. He was right up there and just basically talked about their business of starting with a home freeze dryer, doing ASMR TikTok videos with like freeze dried candy, and how they blew it up to have 5 billion views collectively across all their different channels. They now have so many different subscribers, but they're a different company. And he talked about that. He's like, I'm not a freeze drying company anymore, a freeze dried candy company. I'm a candy company. My brand represents something different, and you have to adapt to the ever changing landscape of why people represent you. It was awesome. Oh, and Brandon, you said, "Oh man, he did great." Yes, he did. Yeah, he was. I knew he was going to do great. I've talked to him before, and I didn't know what type of session, like, I didn't know what his slides were going to be like in his exact talk track, but he knocked it out of the park. Yeah, absolutely. And so then we moved on to our guest speaker after Jesus, to Troy Pettit. I mentioned him before. He did a breakout session on Tuesday. He was from TechSource Systems, and he talked about, again, like the milestones, but he kind of modified it to just talk about real life use cases from some of his clients of those milestones, and then did a live Q&A as well. Now we ended the conference with a breakout session as well. So we had Jared Ducklow from Parker Freeze Dry talking about scaling your business. And also there was 4 people that came from Parker. It was awesome. Now they if you're not familiar with Parker, I actually did a profile on them on my channel through the Frozen Assets podcast series. You can check that playlist out in the podcast. I actually went and visited their facility in Beersford, South Dakota, and really phenomenal. So it was actually my first time meeting Jared in person, and so it was really great having all the guys from Parker there. Nathan Wise was from Severin Packaging. I mentioned that company earlier in the stream. They focus on packaging for freeze drying companies. Um, a they have a handful of clients already, and they're growing that space. So I'm glad that they came. And then we had Brian Bourne. Brian was from KLC Financial. This is a company that actually specializes in financing and creating uh, terms for helping finance a commercial piece of equipment. like a freeze dryer. Sorry. So anyway, great things to end on. Then we broke for lunch. We had an expert panel where I had different expert speakers come up and talk and answer questions about different things that audience members wanted to know, people that you wanted to know if you didn't attend, and then we closed out the summit. So that was the entire schedule. Um, and it was phenomenal. If you have any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them right now. All I'll say is if you didn't get a chance to join the live stream or at the actual summit and see that, I've got it actually on my channel right now. Just go to the live button on the channel homepage, the live section. You'll see it. It says join me at the Freeze Dried Summit. I actually walk through all the different you know what, in fact, I'm going to share that with you because I actually do have I want to show you what it was like. So I'm going to share with you. Okay, this was my live stream. Okay, look at this tab. Let's see. All right, there we go. Okay, so here's the live stream. Okay,
All right. Hey, everyone. If you're just joining this live stream, I told you I would get you an experience virtually live at the Freeze Dried Summit.
Okay, so right there, if you want to know how to access that live stream, I've got it in the video description right now in this live stream. And so you can actually watch this whole thing. It was 53 minutes long. I basically, I'm going to mute this real quick and just show you different highlights. I basically went along and I interviewed different people. For example, this guy right here, Matt Gronke. Why is this ad playing? Really hate that. Sorry. This is Matt Gronke from Parker. I talked to him about what he thought about the summit. Then I ended up talking to Bill from Oregon Freeze Dry. You might be familiar with the Mountain House freeze dried meal brand in REI and all different other places. This is the marketing director for that entire company coming to the Freeze Dried Summit. It was awesome. So he talked about what he's found most impactful from the day. This was during the marketplace event, so we already had 10 different or 2 different breakout sessions. So we were talking about that. Then I went over to Scott Novell over at Harvest Right. This is Scott Novell, and he is one of the owners of Harvest Right. He focuses on inside sales. And so I talked to him right here about what he thought of the conference. I didn't get to talk to everybody. Here's an attendee. Can't recall his name. We're going to listen to that. What's his name?
This year, give the
Let's see. What was his name?
mic off. I'm going to make sure that it's right here because it's super loud. Hey, we're on a live stream on YouTube. You want to be on the live stream?
Sure.
Yeah. Hey. Now this is an attendee here, Neil. Okay.
Hey,
Dave,
Neil.
nice to meet you.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we've met.
Neil, if you're
But
watching this,
Neil,
hello.
so we're on the live stream.
Okay, so Neil was talking. He said he had a vineyard actually. So he was looking at freeze drying what was coming out of his vineyard, things like that. That's why he was here. So there's just so many people, man, who are on here who came to the summit with a variety of different reasons. White Pepper Farms, you said, "Oh, come on, man, you got to get YouTube Premium." Yeah. I'm cheap, Brandon. I'm a cheap person. I don't know why I have not gotten on YouTube Premium. Maybe I just need to make that a business expense. So yeah, I should probably do that. But in the meantime, you're going to watch ads through my screen share here.
For my YouTube.
So that's who I talked to. I talked to different attendees. Let's see. Here I talked. Oh, here you go. Okay, so this was right here, Blue Alpine. Now, this is their new Excel prototype. They're coming out with an Excel freeze dry machine. So take a look at that. You can watch this right now by going to the link in this video description of this live stream, or go to the live section on the Freeze Dry Business YouTube channel. You can check out me actually interacting with the Excel prototype from Blue Alpine that's going to come out later this year. Here we go. Here's another person, Gene Ligman. Talk to him about what his thoughts were about the conference. You might be familiar with him for some of my videos, and as well as Suntour. You might be familiar with this guy. What's up, Brandon? This is Brandon Whiteleather from White Pepper Farms. You might be familiar with his channel. A lot of celebrities came to the Freeze Dried Summit. So I had him. Now, if you're not familiar, both him and I joined Crunchco Freeze Drying Supplies as owners earlier this year. And so we basically, I'm going to show you a little bit further along. We showed all the different supplies here of what we brought. One of the things that was really cool is, oh, right here. You're about to show it.
These little 3D, these aren't for sale. These are just for fun. Little 3D printed freeze dryers. It opens up and you've got the little shelf on the inside.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of showing these ones. And then we've got this one right here. This one we made for the business cards. It's got a little magnet that opens it up, and
Yeah,
we can put our magnet, we can put our business cards right there on the inside. Gift cards, business cards. Yeah, that's been a fun
If you're
one.
interested in that,
And then
let us know.
another thing that really impressed me about Crunchco when I first kind of came on is
Okay, so yeah, that was that's in the live stream. We basically showed off some of these 3D printed stuff, and yeah, and then here's Austin. He's the original co-founder of Crunchco, still owner, and still founder. But now all three of us are doing it. So Austin was there. Everybody brought their spouses. It was awesome, great community. Let's see who else I talked to. I was talking about what everybody's bringing. Right behind me, right there, as you're seeing, that is not the HRC 100, people. That is a new commercial freeze drying machine by TechSource Systems. It has removable trays. It's was really impressive. That's the first time anybody had seen it, and I'm hopefully going to get down there to see if I can do a more profile about that freeze dryer, because I think it was really cool for us to see. Now I went through the hallway. Here's Glacial Freeze Dry. Here's Jared Ducklow from Parker that I interviewed. Let's see, who else did I get? Oh, here's the passport card for what everybody had to participate in. I talked about that. Anyway, I think it was a really good, engaging live stream. If you haven't taken a look at that, take a look, because it was pretty fun doing it, and I showed a lot about what the marketplace was about. So I'm going to stick on this live stream for a little bit longer. It looks like we have about 5 people on here. If you're just joining and you have some questions, happy to answer them in the chat. If you weren't familiar yet with what we talked about during this hour-long live stream, I talked about the fact that I launched a freeze-dried network. Now, it's different than me calling it a community or anything like that. This is a network that will branch off into the first ever freeze drying association. And you'll have member dues there, but it'll be very intentional. If you want to be a part of that, you can join the freeze dried network. I'm going to share with you what that is real quick. I'm going to log out and share my screen just to end this live stream. I just want to share with you real quick what it's all about. There's just ways that I wanted to connect with people beyond just this summit afterwards. And so what I wanted to create was something that you could connect with people who want to further the industry in freeze drying. So what I'm going to share with you right now via the share is the freeze dried network. Okay. So this is the freeze dried network. Now I'm going to change this because, I don't really need my face to be a part of this. This is about the industry. But as you can see, this is a private group. It's the Freeze Dried Network is a community of entrepreneurs, business professionals, and innovators working together to grow the freeze drying industry. It's a space for you to connect, share ideas, and shape the future through collaboration, education, and a future freeze drying association. So for $1 a month, yes, you are paying. For $1 a month, you're going to be connected to a more connected and dedicated group of people who want to further the industry. What that'll come out with as well is a freeze drying association that will further the advancement of the industry. Also, this is where I'm going to be housing a lot of my content from the summit as well. So you'll be able to watch playbacks of that. And there's just going to be a lot more that comes out of this network. So please support the freeze drying industry. Please support the freeze dried business and what I'm doing with the events and everything by joining this freeze dried network. I'm going to include the link right here in the chat if you'd like to join. I'd appreciate the support of this. And you can join right away. You'll see a lot of different activity already started by a lot of people that joined through the summit because that's where I started it. And then you can join. You don't even have to be you don't even have to have a business to join this, okay? If you just want to, if you love freeze drying and you want to see the success of the freeze drying industry forward and you just want to be more a part of it, this is basically the cheapest way that you could be a part of kind of a network. Yes, you can join things for free on Facebook. Yes, you can join things for free anytime you want to. But if you kind of want to pay towards people who are like-minded who want to further the industry, this is what I'd like you to join. So I'm going to leave this up for a little bit longer. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Thanks for joining me on this live stream. I'm going to end here and just close out by saying, if you want to know more about the Freeze Drying Summit, check out the live stream in the video description. Until next time, cheers, and everyone have a great day.